Hey guys, Jacob Howard here, and today we are going to go over some intermediate freestyle tricks. We're going to use a simulator because it gives you, as the viewer, valuable information on what moves we are doing, as well as gives you the opportunity to follow along with what we are showing you. We're going to be doing all of these moves in acro mode, so make sure you are in acro mode before you follow these instructions. Gaps. A gap is basically any space that is big enough for your drone to safely fly through. Some of the best and safer gaps to try as a beginner are tree gaps. The Y shape in a tree trunk or some of the bigger limbs where there are not a lot of small branches or leaves are great places to start. You can also find good man-made gaps like through or under a picnic table or obstacles on a playground. Just make sure you are respectful of public and private property and make sure the area is free of people and animals, unless it's a cat. When starting out, it's good to fly slow through gaps. Slamming into obstacles at high speed can get costly really quick. Try to find a nice wide gap to start with and make sure you know what is beyond the gap. Try to make sure you have a nice long lead up and wide open exit. Give yourself a good amount of distance to get lined up. Go into a slow forward flight and focus on keeping the same altitude. If needed, only make small adjustments with your pitch roll stick. Making too big of changes will throw off your approach and you might need to make a quick stop or bail out of the approach. Try to keep steady and fly through the gap. You know you are lined up well with the gap if it stays in the center of your view as you go forward. Once through, if you have enough space, line up and try flying through in the opposite direction. Practice on the bigger gap until you are comfortable, then try moving to smaller gaps. Again, be respectful of property and people. Try to only fly gaps that will not get damaged if you accidentally crash into them. Inverted hang time. Inverted hang time is where you will roll or flip upside down, then hold the position for a time while falling, then flip or roll back over. To do this, you will want to accelerate upwards to gain a good amount of altitude and momentum. Drop the throttle to 0, then quickly use the pitch roll stick to flip or roll 180 degrees until your drone is upside down. Then hold the position for a time while you free fall. Then use the pitch roll stick to flip 180 degrees again to right side up and throttle up to stop your descent and keep flying. This trick is a little like playing chicken with the ground. You will have to be the judge of how far you can go before flipping back over and throttling out of the trick. Just be careful and give yourself plenty of time to pull up and out of the inverted dive. Power loop. Power looping is one of the more famous tricks, can be a lot of fun, but is hard to get right. A good power loop will look like your drone is flying forward, then doing a slow backflip, making a big circle in the air. To do a power loop, it's best to start in a forward flight. Then you will need to throttle up and start pitching back slightly. You will need to keep on the throttle until you're just about to the top of the circle, then cut the throttle and continue to hold the pitch at the same location and let your momentum carry you through the top of the loop. Then, as you are nearing the far side of the loop, you need to throttle back up and continue to hold the pitch to round off the bottom of the circle. Then continue flying forward. This can be a really tricky move to pull off correctly. Oftentimes your loop will end up looking elongated. The hard part is to know when to cut throttle at the top of the loop and how much pitch back you need to be giving it. But with some patience and practice, you can get it. You can expand upon this move by power looping through and over a gap, but that takes a good amount of practice. Split S. A split S is an aerial move that has been around for a long time. It's done by flying forward, doing a half roll, then descending with a half loop out, ending in level flight, reversing the direction you were flying. To do a split S, you need to start with a good amount of altitude, drop the throttle to 0, then immediately roll 180 degrees left to right, then start pitching back and slowly raising the throttle to make a half loop to finish. You will end up flying at a lower altitude in the opposite direction, so make sure you are flying in an open area. Flying backward. The tricky part about flying backwards is you can't really see where you're going, and depending on your camera angle, you might not be able to see the ground, so it's hard to gauge your altitude. To start flying backward, you simply need to take off and pitch back slightly. This will start you into a backward flight. A tip for flying backward would be to have some sort of reference point like a tree or yourself so that you can see how high off the ground you are. Another method for flying backwards is done by starting in a forward flight, fly towards a tree or another obstacle, not at the tree, then yaw 180 degrees, keeping the tree in view, and then pitching back slightly, letting your momentum carry you into the backward flight and keeping an eye on the tree as reference. To stop flying backwards, simply pitch forward and continue flying forward, or yaw 180 degrees and continue forward flight in the direction you were headed. These are just a few of the intermediate tricks you can try, but don't be afraid to mix things up and try combining the basic and intermediate tricks. For example, like doing a flip or roll while flying through a gap, or combining multiple flips and rolls, or trying these tricks closer to objects or the ground. When it comes to freestyle, the sky's the limit, quite literally. But as always, it's recommended that you try these tricks in the simulator first because your wallet probably has a much lower limit than your flying style. If you have any questions or tricks you'd like to see us teach, definitely let us know, and have fun flying.